Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today, headfirst into crypto. And let's be real, things are, I don't know about you, but they're looking a little shaky right now. I mean, everyone's talking about Bitcoin pulling back and altcoins dipping. There's whispers of a crypto crash starting to get a little louder. But I think this could be the calm before the storm. What do you think? Is this the end of crypto, or is this the beginning of something really massive?
It's interesting, watching people react to these swings. There's definitely a lot of fear, but there's also some really powerful forces at play here that could, well, I think they could reshape the whole crypto landscape.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Powerful forces. Just got to break this down for me. What kind of key moves are we talking about here?
Well, one of the biggest things I think we need to look at is the U.S. government and their debt. They need to refinance something like $7 trillion in debt coming up soon, and that gives them a huge incentive to try and manipulate interest rates.
Okay, so walk me through this. I mean, if you're the government, you don't want to be stuck refinancing all that debt at a really high rate.
No, absolutely not.
So what do they do?
Well, one thing they can do is try to crash the stock market.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but stick with me here, because when the stock market tanks, bond prices go up. And when bond prices go up, yields go down. Lower bond yields push the Fed to cut rates.
Oh, okay. So the government might actually want the stock market to crash so they can refinance their debt on the cheap. That is wild. And this is good for crypto.
Yeah, exactly. Lower interest rates make it cheaper to borrow money, which encourages more risk-taking, more investment, particularly in assets like crypto. It's kind of a chain reaction. Crypto could end up being the unexpected beneficiary of all of this.
Okay, so even if things are looking kind of gloomy in the stock market, crypto investors might have a reason to be optimistic. We're talking about a potential surge here, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But there's another piece to this, the US dollar. It's been, its recent performance is really similar to what we saw during the last presidential administration's first term. It's fallen below some key moving averages, which could be a sign that momentum is shifting, kind of like what happened back then. Is this a repeat of history, or is this just a coincidence?
It is. I mean, the similarities are striking. It makes you wonder if there's a pattern emerging here. What does a weaker dollar mean for crypto, though?
A weaker dollar makes alternative assets, especially scarce assets like Bitcoin, more attractive. It's simple. As the dollar goes down, interest in crypto goes up.
So we've got these macroeconomic forces potentially pushing the dollar down, interest rates down, which could create a perfect storm, right?
Yeah, could be. Now, let's not forget Bitcoin itself. I know it's taken a hit recently. Some people are freaking out, but let's zoom out for a minute, look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, I've learned not to panic when it comes to these short-term fluctuations. Bitcoin has gone through this before, right? What does the technical analysis tell us?
Well, this pullback could actually be a healthy correction. It's like taking a breather after a big run-up. Bitcoin's behaving exactly how you'd expect it to after a parabolic rise. It needs these periods of retracement, consolidation, to build a solid foundation for its next move up.
So even though things look scary right now, this might actually be a buying opportunity for savvy investors.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Are you seeing the same potential here? Let us know down in the comments.
Yeah, I think so. The long-term fundamentals of Bitcoin are still incredibly strong. We're seeing increasing global adoption, more and more institutional interest, and, of course, constant development of the blockchain technology. These aren't signs of a dying asset. They're pointing towards a future where Bitcoin plays a much bigger role in the global financial system.
All right, so buckle up, everyone, because this is where things get really exciting. We're going to dive into the potential for an altcoin bull market. And this is the kind of stuff that could be life-changing. But first, we need to take a look at what's fueling this potential altcoin surge.
Yeah, so we're seeing a bunch of factors that could create a perfect storm for altcoins. A big part of that is this accelerating growth of the U.S. money supply, something called M2.
Okay, I'm picturing this like fuel being poured onto a fire. More money in circulation means more money flowing into markets, including crypto, right?
Right, and here's where it gets interesting. We're also expecting the Federal Reserve to shift towards lower interest rates, potentially very significantly. Historically, there's been a really strong correlation between increased M2 money supply and lower interest rates with strong performance in the stock market. Makes sense, right? Cheaper money, more money sloshing around, that tends to boost asset prices.
So you're saying that altcoins could benefit from the same macroeconomic tailwind that's lifting the stock market?
It's not just me saying it. The historical data backs this up. When you combine this with the fact that altcoins have been in a prolonged period of consolidation and accumulation since 2021, Well, let's just say the market is primed for a major breakout.
Hold on, hold on. Consolidation and accumulation. For those of us that don't speak crypto, what does that actually mean?
Think of it like a spring being compressed for years. The tension just builds and builds, and then suddenly, boom, it releases all that pent-up energy in a powerful burst. That's what consolidation and accumulation can look like in the market. Investors have been quietly accumulating altcoins, even as prices have been kind of, stagnant. And when that pent-up energy finally releases.
Boom.
Exactly.
So are you saying that this current market downturn, as painful as it is, could actually be setting the stage for a massive bull run once those macroeconomic conditions align?
It's all about perspective. The people who can see past the fear, understand the underlying dynamics, well, they have the potential to reap enormous rewards.
What an incredible insight. It sounds like patience is key here. This isn't the time to panic. This is the time to prepare. What do you guys think? Are you feeling bullish on altcoins or are you still hesitant? Hit that like button. Let us know down in the comments.
I think it really comes down to whether you believe in the fundamentals, the technology itself. Cryptocurrency is still in its early stages, and the biggest winners here, well, I think they'll be the ones who stay informed, stay disciplined, and most importantly, stay patient.
You're making me want to go out and buy every altcoin on the market right now. But seriously, this is fascinating stuff. It's amazing how these seemingly unrelated events, like U.S. debt and Fed policy, can have such a ripple effect on crypto. You know what I mean? It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is all connected, and that's the beauty of macroeconomics.
Yeah.
Understanding these connections, well, it's like having a secret weapon in the investing world.
Okay, before we get carried away dreaming about Lambos and moon landings, let's bring things back down to earth for a minute and talk about Bitcoin. It's taken a bit of a beating lately. What's your take? Is this just a blip on the radar, or should we be worried?
Remember Bitcoin, it's the OG, it's the one that started it all. It's weathered countless storms, and it always seems to come out on top. This recent pullback is causing some anxiety, but if you zoom out and look at the long-term chart, it's just a small blip.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day drama. Sometimes you need to take a step back and see the forest for the trees, as they say. What do you see when you look at that bigger picture?
I see a technology that's steadily gaining global acceptance. I see a growing number of institutional investors who are starting to recognize its potential, and I see constant innovation happening in the blockchain space. These are not signs of an asset that's in decline. These are signs that point to a future where Bitcoin plays a much, much bigger role in the global financial system.
So give us some concrete examples. What are some specific indicators that Bitcoin is still on track for greatness?
Well, we're seeing a global race for Bitcoin adoption. Countries all around the world are recognizing its potential, as a store of value, as a medium of exchange, a hedge against inflation. It's like a digital gold rush, with nations vying to position themselves as leaders in the crypto space.
That's a powerful image. It sounds like Bitcoin is becoming more mainstream every single day.
Absolutely. And then you have these institutional investors, hedge funds, pension funds, even major corporations. They're dipping their toes in the water. They're starting to see Bitcoin as a legitimate asset class, and their involvement is bringing a whole new level of legitimacy and stability to this market.
That's huge. It's no longer just like tech enthusiasts driving this. It's becoming a force to be reckoned with. It's amazing how far Bitcoin has come in such a relatively short time. And don't forget to hit that share button and spread the knowledge, guys.
And let's not forget the incredible pace of technological development in the blockchain space,
Yeah.
We're seeing innovations in scalability, security, user experience, things that are making cryptocurrencies more accessible, more practical for everyday use. It's mind-blowing how fast this technology is evolving.
It's true. It seems like there's a new breakthrough every single day.
Yeah.
But with all the hype and speculation swirling around, it's more important than ever to stay grounded, right? To focus on the fundamentals.
Yeah, I agree. We need to cut through the noise, make informed decisions based on solid research and analysis, not just emotions, not just FOMO.
Okay, I'm feeling fired up, ready to jump into the world of altcoins. But with so many options out there, it can be overwhelming. Where do we even begin? What are some key things to look for when you're trying to identify promising altcoin projects?
That's a great question. It's a common challenge for new investors. The altcoin space is vast, it's constantly evolving, but don't let that intimidate you. It's all about finding those hidden gems with real-world utility, with a strong team behind them. What do you think is a good first step?
Well, if I was going to evaluate a company, I'd probably start by looking at their business plan, right?
Yeah.
Is there something similar for altcoins?
Yeah, you're on the right track. For altcoins, that business plan is called a white paper. It should clearly outline the problem the project is trying to solve, its proposed solution, the technology behind it. Think of it as the project's blueprint.
So it's not just about the marketing hype, right? There needs to be a solid foundation. We want to make sure that these altcoins are actually trying to solve real problems, not just riding the latest trends.
Exactly. You want to invest in projects that are building something meaningful, something with substance, something with long-term potential. What else do you think we should look at?
After the white paper, I'd want to know who's running the show. A great idea is nothing without a great team to execute it, right?
You're reading my mind. It's absolutely essential to look at the team behind the project. Who are the founders? What's their experience? Do they have a proven track record of success? A strong and experienced team is critical to any project's success.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
You want to know that the people steering the ship, well, you know they know what they're doing. They can navigate the inevitable challenges that are going to come up. It's no different from investing in any other startup, right? You wouldn't just throw money at any random idea. You'd want to see a solid team with a history of execution.
absolutely. And of course, you need to evaluate the technology itself, right? Is it innovative? Is it scalable? Is it secure? These are all critical factors. You're looking for cutting-edge solutions that can handle the demands of a global market.
So it's all about doing your due diligence. Research, understand the project, evaluate the team, assess the technology, and then, and only then, you can think about investing a single Satoshi. No impulsive decisions here.
That's the key takeaway. But there's one more crucial element we need to talk about, and that's the tokenomics of the project. How is the token distributed? What's the total supply? What are the use cases for that token within the ecosystem? These factors can have a major impact on the token's long-term value.
Wow, that's a whole other layer of complexity. But hey, that's why we do these deep dives. We want our listeners to be armed with the knowledge they need to make smart decisions. And don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you think.
Exactly. We want to empower our listeners to become informed investors who understand the intricacies of this exciting new world.
Okay, before we get lost in the rabbit hole of tokenomics and white papers, I want to bring us back to the bigger picture for a moment. We've talked about how lower interest rates and increased money supply could fuel a crypto bull market. But let's get real for a second. What are some of the risks? What could throw a wrench in the works?
Well, that's a really smart question to ask. You always have to acknowledge the potential downsides, right? And one of the biggest risks I see is inflation. I mean, if it keeps spiraling out of control, central banks, they might be forced to raise those interest rates more aggressively than anyone's anticipating, and that could really put a damper on risk assets, including crypto.
Yeah, it's a balancing act for sure. The government wants to stimulate the economy with these lower rates, but they also have to keep inflation under control. It's a tough spot to be in. Are there any other risks that we should be keeping an eye on?
Oh, always. I mean, there's always the risk of some unforeseen event, the black swan events that nobody sees coming, global pandemics, major wars, a financial crisis. Those are the wild cards that could really send shockwaves through the market.
Like they say, expect the unexpected. But seriously, how do you even prepare for something you can't predict?
You can't predict the unpredictable, but what you can do is prepare for volatility. That means having a diversified portfolio, spreading your risk, and having a long-term investment horizon. The people who weather the storms, the people who stay focused on the fundamentals, those are the ones who come out ahead in the long run.
It's all about risk management, right? Having a plan, knowing your risk tolerance, setting clear investment goals, and having an exit strategy. Investing is a lot more strategic than some people think.
I couldn't agree more. It's about building a solid foundation of knowledge, understanding how the markets work, and making informed decisions, not just chasing those quick profits.
Okay, let's shift gears for a moment. Talk about something that's been on my mind, regulation. It seems like governments around the world, they're still trying to figure out how to handle crypto. What kind of impact do you think this could have on the market? Is this something investors should really be paying attention to?
Oh, absolutely. Regulation is a double-edged sword, right? On the one hand, clear and sensible regulation could bring some legitimacy, some stability to the market that could attract more of those institutional investors, encourage more mainstream adoption, which would be, that would be huge for crypto.
Yeah, it does feel like the Wild West out there sometimes, I have to admit. Some level of regulation, it could help level the playing field, maybe protect investors from some of those scams and shady projects.
Yeah.
But what are the downsides? Could regulation stifle innovation?
That's the other edge of the sword. Overreaching, poorly designed regulation that could definitely stifle innovation, hinder the industry's growth. It's a tough balance for policymakers to strike.
Yeah, it's a tightrope walk for sure. Too much regulation, you choke the industry, but too little, it's chaos. What do you guys think? Are you paying attention to how governments are approaching crypto regulation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
We're at a really pivotal moment in the evolution of finance. Cryptocurrencies, they have the potential to completely revolutionize how we think about money, value, trust. But this journey is just getting started. We're going to encounter challenges, uncertainties along the way.
It's exciting and a little daunting, to be honest. But for those who are willing to do the research, stay informed, embrace the volatility, the rewards could be huge.
Absolutely. Investing in cryptocurrencies is not for the faint of heart, though. Remember that. It's a high risk, high reward game. But if you believe in the long term potential of this technology, it's a journey worth taking.
Well said. That brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of crypto. We've explored a lot today, from those macroeconomic forces to the potential for an altcoin bull market and the risks involved, the importance of due diligence, the evolving landscape of regulations. What are your biggest takeaways from our conversation today? What has you excited about the crypto space? What concerns you? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to the channel for more insightful deep dives. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay ahead of the curve.